Hollywood, our own John and Kristian had the opportunity to go to the Paramount Studios lot to watch a screening of the new Tom Cruise film Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. With the IMF now disbanded and Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise, out in the cold, a new threat called the Syndicate soon emerges. The Syndicate is a network of highly skilled operatives who are dedicated to establishing a new world order via an escalating series of terrorist attacks. Faced with what may be the most impossible mission yet, Ethan gathers his team and joins forces with Ilsa Faust, Rebecca Ferguson, a disavowed British agent who may or may not be a member of this deadly rogue nation. So guys, give us your review of the film.
You know, I have been so confused as to what to think about as far as my anticipation of this movie goes, because first of all, the last Mission Impossible was great, so that's a good thing. They moved it from Christmas time up like 4.5 months into the summertime. That's a good sign. But at the same time, there's been, I think, a little bit, it's catching people by surprise that it's opening up this week. Like even I was like, oh, that's right, it's opening this week. They haven't done a really great job really drilling it into the audience that this thing is now opening this week. And so maybe that, signifies a little bit of, oh, maybe we don't have something good here. It's spectacular. I loved this movie. I didn't right from the opening scene, which is fantastic and it's breathtaking and it sets the tone for the whole movie right off the bat. Tom Cruise has not lost a step. He has absolutely not lost a step. There's some fantastic physical action in this movie. It's just heart pounding, like really. And some of the best vehicle chases, and there's several vehicle chase scenes in this movie, all choreographed wonderfully. Some of the stunts are spectacular. It's funny when it needed to be funny. Simon Pegg is really comfortable and at home in this franchise now. You can totally see it. Seeing the other guys, Jeremy Renner, his role's kind of played from what it was in 4, but he's totally fits that role. Ving Rhames is back, having a more predominant role than he's had probably since part 1. And that was really nice to see. It's got a strong villain. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. Strong villain. And it was just, it's not often when you watch, because we saw it last night at Paramount with about 200 other, film journalists and stuff like that. And we're a jaded bunch. It's not often when you walk out of those types of screenings and you can just feel the buzz in the air from everybody there. Because like I said, the film journalists are a jaded bunch. And everybody came walking out of the theater and it was electric. Everybody's really excited about it. I really enjoyed this film. Kristian, you and I didn't even connect after the movie. So your thoughts on Mission Impossible Rogue
I got
Nation?
2 words for you. Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah.
Where did she come from? This girl that's in this movie.
I think she came from The Rock's Hercules.
Yeah. But other than that, who is she? And you talk about a new woman who can kick ass. Start rumoring this girl for a lot of different stuff because she's going to be everywhere. She is great in this movie. But you're absolutely right. Not only did Tom Cruise not lose a step, he gained a step. I mean, you watch I love this movie, and I loved the last one, Ghost Protocol.
Yeah,
loved it. Thought Brad Bird did an amazing job. I like this movie more, and I'll tell you why. Because what does everyone talk about in Ghost Protocol? Dubai, because that scene is just electric, and you're watching it. But the problem with that scene is once that scene is done, the ending, as fine as it is, it's fairly forgettable because that scene happens almost in the middle of the movie. This movie, I think, learned from that. And there's a big, big piece right in the beginning that you go, oh, wow, that's crazy. But then it's the story that locks you in. You're so locked into what Mission Impossible is all about, and that's the team element. And it's not only Ethan running around doing all these things, he's got to be partnered up. And they gave Simon Pegg a lot more to do. The humor worked, his character worked. He wasn't just in there for just comedic relief. He was in there to serve a purpose to the story. And then, because of that villain and the way that the movie ties up, it just works as a whole. My only gripe with the film is it's about 10 minutes too long. Maybe 10, 15 minutes too long. It's the longest Mission Impossible so far, but I was still okay with it. I was never bored. Overall, my biggest concern going into the film was Chris McQuarrie. Not as a writer. I mean, Usual Suspects, come on. And I think he was one of the writers on what Live, Die, Repeat, whatever the movie was.
He was.
He was one of the writers on that too. He's a phenomenal writer. I didn't like Jack Reacher. I know some people enjoyed it. I really disliked the film, so I was nervous going into this and squashed. This guy should be doing a lot more now. I want to see him do something without Tom Cruise now, but Tom Cruise is a bona fide action star. There's a reason this guy has been on top for so long. Everyone involved in this film, and Alec Baldwin was great.
See, I was going to say, my biggest concern, I wasn't worried about Christopher McQuarrie because I'm one of those people who I did like Jack Reacher, but also as a writer, because he was also the main writer on this film. He did another Tom Cruise movie, which I think is one of the more underrated Tom Cruise movies, Valkyrie.
Yeah.
And Christopher McQuarrie was the writer on that as well. Him and Tom Cruise work really well together.
Directing though.
Yeah, I know. But I since I like Jack Reacher, I was on board. But you're right. Christopher McQuarrie did a masterful job. One of the great things about this movie is you hear us talk a lot about this, and I'll talk about it a little bit more when we start talking about Southpaw as a polar opposite. The pacing of this movie is great. And I'm not talking whether it's a fast movie or a slow movie. I'm saying it finds its pace. It knows this plot point, how many beats does this plot point need? This scene, how many beats is, and he finds his rhythm, and that whole movie just flowed. My biggest concern was Alec Baldwin, because when I saw the trailer, I thought Alec Baldwin is going to be the stereotype, just big blowhard, blah, blah, blah. I'm the man, so therefore I'm a pain in the ass, sort of thing. But I really enjoyed him in the movie, and there was a nice resolution to his character at the end too. I'm thrilled with this movie. We were discussing, it might be my favorite movie this summer. I'm not sure yet between it and Ant-Man. It's close. I know for me, out of 10, I'm going to give it the same score that I ended up giving Ant-Man. I'm going to give it an 8.5. I just had such a fun time with this movie.
I'm also going to give it the same score I gave Ant-Man. That's a 9 out of 10. But I actually think I enjoyed it overall more as a summer blockbuster movie. This is, when you think of blockbuster action films, this is what you want out of a movie. It's a movie that does have those big action pieces, but it doesn't just require you, shut your brain off and it's an okay movie, but you'll have fun because there's big special effects. No, it had a great story, it had great characters, the music was great, it had nods to the old television show. Everything you wanted this movie to be, it was. And that for me is a summer movie that I'm going to take away and go, yeah, I enjoyed it. Mad Max is up there too. But I would say right now, I'd probably put Mission Impossible right there, Mad Max second, and then Ant-Man third.
And we invited you to come with us, but you unfortunately had already plans and couldn't go. But you've been looking forward to this.
I can't wait. I'm so happy that you guys loved it. So I'm going to see it Thursday. So I'm really excited to see it.
And so speaking of which, that was our review of it, but watch for our full spoiler review that will be up on sometime Friday afternoon, Friday evening. So watch for our spoiler review for Mission Impossible.